everybody loses people that we love. That's part of life. But this was so unfair. It really, really was.
The Htoo-Maw Family Murders.
This tragic event led to a comprehensive 5-year-long investigation with at times involving as many as 25 Regina Police Service members.
In 2008, Gray Htoo and Htoo-Maw left a refugee camp in Thailand and relocated to Regina, Saskatchewan to start a new life. The couple from the ethno-linguistic group Karen soon settled in and had a son, 7 June 2. But in August 2010, the bodies of the family were found in their home, tragically slain. With an officer fluent in the Karen and Burmese languages, the police conducted around 250 interviews in the first year of the investigation alone.
Over 200 interviews have been conducted, with the majority involving Karen-speaking people. Language and cultural differences were identified as a significant obstacle from the start of this investigation.
Neighbors spoke about the couple triple locking their doors and seeing suspicious people around. However, the police haven't found the culprit. By 2015, it was officially designated a cold case. A reward of $50,000 was issued for information leading to a conviction.
We think that we have to keep working on this file, follow up on our investigative leads, and maybe at some point in time we will get that piece of information that will lead us to hold those accountable.
The Vanishing Prospectors.
He found that their camp had been set up, their beds had been slept in, and cups half full of tea sat next to their extinguished campfire. Jim and Abby were nowhere to be found.
In June 1967, a friend went to a camp in Lower Foster Lake, Saskatchewan, which housed Métis leader James Brady and Absalon Halkett to resupply them. The two regularly went prospecting together. However, when the friend arrived, the camp was deserted and the duo was missing. The local community immediately began searching for Brady and Halkett. However, they were never seen again.
In fact, in the subsequent search, nothing else was ever found. No boots, no Geiger counters, never mind their remains.
The search was officially called off the following month. While some believe the two were attacked by wildlife, people that knew the duo dispute this, since they were experienced in the wilderness. Also, the fact their remains and equipment were not discovered is strange. Some speculate that Brady's activism might have upset someone who took extreme measures.
You done taken a wrong turn.
Barbara McLean and Melissa Rahorick. In February 1977, the body of Barbara McLean was discovered in Calgary, Alberta. The night before, she was at a bar when she got into an argument with her boyfriend. Left in the parking lot alone, McLean decided to hitchhike to a party. Tragically, this ended in her demise. Quickly, the police connected this crime with the slaying of Melissa Rahorick in September 1976. She had left her residence and was last seen near McMahon Stadium in Calgary, Alberta, where it's believed she hitchhiked. Rahorick's body and all her belongings were found in Cochrane, Alberta. Gary McCastocker was a suspect in both cases. However, in 1994, he took his own life when the cops wanted to question him about a different slaying. The horror at Toronto Hospital.
After dozens of babies in the cardiac unit of the Hospital for Sick Children mysteriously died, a young nurse was charged with first-degree murder in the deaths of 4 of them.
In March 1981, something dark was going on at the cardiac ward at the Hospital for Sick Children in Toronto, Ontario. The fatality rate had risen by 625%. Even those that were on the road to recovery suddenly perished. During tests, the victims had dangerous levels of digoxin in their system, a heart medicine. However, the testing methods have been questioned. The police charged nurse Susan Nellis with 4 of the killings. Yet during the hearing, the judge threw the case out on a lack of evidence towards Nellis and that it pointed at someone else being responsible. During an inquiry, it was discovered that nurse Phyllis Traynor was present at 29 suspicious fatalities. But she was never charged and has since passed away.
It's now widely believed no murders were ever committed, and that a chemical that mimics digoxin was leaching from syringes and IV lines used on the babies, and that was the cause.
The Forest City Killer.
The telltale markers are there, the links to at least 3 other crimes, and this has been peer-reviewed internationally by the leading homicide scholars, my colleagues, who say, what the hell happened here?
London, Ontario has been a hotbed of killings. Between 1959 and 1984, 29 took place in the area nicknamed the Forest City, and 16 of those have been left unsolved. Yet 8 of them are theorized to be down to one individual. In October 1969, Jackie English left her part-time job at a restaurant after her shift. During her journey home, she was seen getting into a car near a bridge. She then disappeared.
She was last seen going up the overpass towards London.
5 days later, her body was discovered around 70 kilometers away in Big Otter Creek. This made English the 8th girl slain in London in the last 2 years. Decades on, English's family is still looking for answers.
Everybody loses people that we love. That's part of life. But this was so unfair. It really, really was brutal and unfair.
Louis Sam and James Bell. In 2006, the U.S. state of Washington apologized for the shocking events that took place in 1884. Back then, 58-year-old James Bell was a shopkeeper in the state who was fatally assassinated in his home, which was then set ablaze. A local pointed the finger at Louis Sam, who was part of the Stallo community in British Columbia. As the U.S. authorities departed to arrest Sam, people from around Bell's area took matters into their own hands. They crossed into Canada and lynched him before a trial even took place. It's believed that 2 white Americans had slain Bell, then encouraged the mob to take out the innocent Sam. The Babes in the Woods.
We were able to confirm that Derek Dalton, born on February 27, 1940, and David Dalton, born on June 24, 1941, were in fact the Babes in the Woods.
In 1953, a groundskeeper at Stanley Park, Vancouver, British Columbia came across a grisly scene. They found the remains of 2 children hidden in the woodlands and covered by a woman's coat. A hatchet was found nearby. But for decades, the identity of the children and the person responsible has been unknown. Eventually, we got some answers. In February 2022, DNA technology was used to determine who the victims were. They were discovered to be brothers David and Derek Dalton, and were slain around 1947. The police believed their mother was the perpetrator, but since she passed away over 25 years ago, we'll probably never know for sure.
I felt that it was necessary to give them names in order to give them some sense of peace.
Vancouver police admit they may never learn why Derek and David were killed or who killed them, but they vow to keep trying.
The Hemlock Valley Murders. In the space of 2 months in 1995, the bodies of 3 women were found in remote areas around the Fraser Valley near Vancouver, British Columbia. Each of the victims, Tammy Pipe, Tracy Olajide, and Victoria Yunker, had several connections. They were each sex workers, had a substance problem, and lived in the same area. Convicted serial killer and infamous pig farmer Robert Picton was linked to the case. However, DNA analysis later ruled him out. In 2010, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police issued a public appeal for more information on the mystery. They announced they believed a serial killer was responsible. However, they suspected the perpetrator was either in prison or had since passed away. The mystery serial killer of Alberta. Since 1990, a mysterious serial killer has evidently been using the area around Calgary, Alberta as their hunting ground, mostly targeting sex workers. The spree began with 17-year-old Joanne Shaver and seemingly ended in 1993 with 20-year-old Rebecca Boutillier. There are said to be around 7 victims. However, some believe the person responsible moved on to Edmonton, committing at least 12 further slayings against similar women. Even the Royal Canadian Mounted Police stated in 2004 that one person might be responsible for the Edmonton slayings. In 2003, the RCMP created Project CARE specifically to examine cases involving people from high-risk lifestyles. In 2005, the unit began to explore links between the Calgary and Edmonton cases, but the mystery sadly continues. The Highway of Tears.
Sure, you're going to take your time and do this, national inquiry, but is it going to be followed through? Is it going to be complete? Are we really going to get something out of it?
Stretched between the cities of Prince Rupert and Prince George in British Columbia is a 725-kilometer road known as the Highway of Tears that has been the hunting ground for a spree of killings. And the target is often Indigenous women. Actual number of victims is disputed. The RCMP created Project EPANA in 2005 and selected 18 cases to examine. However, others believe the true number is closer to 50.
They focused on cases that they thought, or where they thought a serial killer may have been involved, and once they determined that a case didn't involve a serial killer, it got put aside, like it's been put aside for 30 years.
Over time, some of the cases have been attributed to certain people, such as Cody Lejabokov, who was convicted of 4 slayings in 2014, while convicted American offender Bobby Jack Fowler had his DNA linked to 3 cases. However, he passed away in 2006. This still leaves many victims without justice.
That's what really puts a mother down, is that you don't know how long she was alive before they killed her. That's the most difficult part.
Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.